All right, everybody, stay tuned. We're going live. We're here live at the, I keep wanting to say the IEEE Electrical Safety Workshop, but it's not. It's the PCIC, Petroleum and Chemical Industry Committee.
And I think you're not in the camera. You just have to,
Yeah, I'll come over this way. Why don't you, okay, so we have one microphone here.
should I go?
Give it to him. Give it to him.
Go first.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, give it to him and you'll be on my mic.
Finishing conference.
That's absolutely right. Okay, so everybody, welcome to, this is day, so technically, what is this? So when did PCIC really start?
No, the official is Monday's the official start date.
Monday.
But people started getting here Wednesday night for API meetings on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Standards meetings on Saturday and Sunday. The conference Monday through Wednesday and tutorials on Thursday. So tomorrow's the official last day of the conference.
Okay.
That's one of the things we've kind of been arguing about on ANA is trying to take and extend that date to get more people to come.
Oh,
Standards.
Oh, yeah.
I should jump in. I guess we haven't made the introduction. So
yeah. That's what I was going to do next.
Okay, so
Yeah, so why don't we start over there?
So who needs the mic?
Do him first, yeah, and introduce yourself and the
My
camera's
name's
right up there.
Donald Dunn, many hats within PCIC, but for this purpose, I'm the Orlando Local Committee Conference Chair.
Excellent,
Dean Ruiz, 2023 New Orleans Local Committee Chair.
excellent.
as you guys know me, Nehad El-Sherif. I'm Thomas Dimitrovich's sidekick.
Yes, oh, hey, we're a team,
Yeah,
team.
my buddy.
Yeah, absolutely, and Tom Dimitrovich coming here too. So now we're here at PCIC, and this is a special moment because we have two very important people. One is the current chair for this committee, and Don, you are the future chair for the next one.
Video, Tom.
For the next one.
Did we lose the video?
No, we should be fine.
Actually, okay, because it was showing. I think now it's showing we'll be back.
Yeah, that will be fine.
So make sure that you have the video stream.
Yep, we're up and running. Okay, so let's talk about this year's PCIC, which is still not going through Thursday, but you showed some numbers up there today at today's luncheon. How about the attendance? Are you happy with the way things are going?
Very strong. We had 1,545 or so. We had a lot of first-time attendees, which is almost a third of our attendees were first-timers. So that was nice.
I saw that.
Tutorials.
That's amazing.
We probably had the most attendees since 2015 when Donald was chair in Houston.
Yeah.
And they set a record there that hasn't been broken. So we had the most since then. So I take comfort in that.
Absolutely.
So no, it was very strong. I'm very happy with it.
Absolutely. And it's a great place too. The food was great.
Yeah.
The music was great.
Yes.
And the technical content, all of the different papers, all the different papers were absolutely
It's
outstanding.
a total package. It's technical during the day and a lot of learning, and then at night we had all of our affiliates having events. And
Absolutely.
for me, as long as I've been going to this conference over 20 years, it's probably the most affiliate events I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think we had over 30 last night, and I've never seen that.
Is that right?
It was a big draw. So I know in Houston, I'm assuming it was pretty close because that's a big draw in Houston as well.
Yeah, we weren't that many of them.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so now I know you, so you're the chair and you're the future chair. I was the past chair of the Electrical Safety Workshop. I know that there is a huge committee behind you, right, making it all happen. So working with the team, can you talk a little bit about, like, as a team, how do you make things successful?
Oh, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of people and a lot of companies that support it. They're people taking time away from their normal day-to-day jobs to support this. A lot of nights and weekends.
It's true, we're all volunteers.
Yeah, so it's a volunteer thing. And so, every now and then things come up and you just have to deal with them. But it does. We had 46 people in our committee.
46.
So it's a lot of people and it's a lot of moving parts. But as you can see, with over 1,500 attendees and almost 500 first-timers and all the sessions and the movement between sessions and affiliates, there's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts, absolutely. No, so if somebody wanted to get involved with the committee at any different level, how do they do that?
All they have to do is find somebody. There's if you want to get involved in standards, and I know Donald can probably speak a lot more about this than I can, but on the standards, you come a little early, you just sit in the meetings, get on the roster. Next thing you know, you're getting emails from them. You can start participating, and you can see where the standards are going. Right. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. I mean, I know Donald can say this, our names are plastered over everything. So, send us an email and ask. That's all you have to do.
So how do you pick a location?
So it goes through a pretty rigorous process. They try to find places that are.
And Dean has taken over that group.
Oh, so you're going
Congratulations,
to,
Dean.
congratulations.
As they say, no good deed goes
No good
unpunished.
deed goes unpunished. So they have a categorical system of quadrants. I think it's 4 quadrants they have in the States.
And we have not done a real good job of
Right,
following.
we try, we
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
And you submit a letter. Somebody has to step up and raise the hand. So,
Okay.
you submit a letter to the PCIC chair, overall chair. You know, Donald and I are local chairs, so this is the person who runs the whole show from the executive level.
Gotcha.
Who's also a volunteer. You submit that letter saying why you think it should be there, and then you submit to the facilities committee. There's a brief little process to go through on your city, like a little bit about the hotels, a little bit about what's around, what is there to do.
Right.
It gets presented to the facilities committee, and they review, and then they make suggestions to the advisory and awards committee, which Donald referenced earlier. And they kind of take the information, decide, and make a recommendation to the executive subcommittee about this is where we would like to have the conference.
And I think one of the key things is like in your case, Binbo and Associates, right? In my case, Baltimore S. Nelson, you got to have company commitment
Absolutely.
for these 2 rows. And
Absolutely.
if you don't have your company committed to the people in this row,
That's right.
you're not going to have the conference there. Right?
So,
50% support. Yeah.
so let me ask you though. So from a corporate support, why would your company support you in doing this effort?
Well, if you were at the presentation, you heard there was my holy trinity, and Leo Holzenthal, who's one of the owners, the guy who hired me, the CEO, is a big believer in this. And as a matter of fact, I was walking down the hall and I looked at him and I said, hey, thank you for letting me do this, because they're paying me to not do all of my job and do this work. And he said,
Right.
well, thank you for doing it. So I've got the support, and that's what makes it easy, right?
Yeah.
And then you get team members who step up and do what they should be doing. So it's
So my boss is his vice chair.
So I know why. I know.
Easy then.
There we go. So it really.
He's my secretary in Orlando.
So I see your strategy. Get your boss involved
Oh, I
with the.
didn't know.
Jack, we've known each other for quite a long
Yeah,
time.
quite a long time.
That's absolutely
I had
awesome.
no input on that whatsoever.
And they've always supported the conference. Way back in 2002 when it was in New Orleans, Jim Kospelich with W.S. Nelson's was one of the guys that kind of helped. I had a small role in the local committee in 2002.
Right.
And he kind of just welcomed me in and brought me in. So he's got a very dear place in my heart, along with Leo.
That's excellent.
For what he's meant to me at this conference.
Then Arthur Smith, who's
Arthur Smith.
between Jack and Jim. Arthur's senior VP. He's active in the PCIC. He's over half of the standards within PCIC.
Oh,
And has
gotcha.
won
Arthur
awards for his
DSW
papers.
too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Arthur's doing standards for
Oh, yeah.
ESW as well. Yeah, he's very active. Yeah. I know
No,
Arthur,
very
yeah.
active in SW.
Yeah. And like you say, we develop standards, and I sort of like the flow, because it's like you have the committee meetings first, then you have these standards meetings, and also committee meetings, right? Because we have the safety committee of the international committee, all that good stuff, and then you get into the actual content where we are watching experts in the industry, and I love to see even younger experts coming to the table. And I saw a lot of really great individuals who I know have a lot of runway for our future, and they're demonstrating their desire to increase safety and the application for power systems. And this is the forum where they get to do that.
And it's for me, meaning what it means to me. And if you heard my speech, it's about me giving back, right? I didn't want to be chair. I'm not looking for titles, but this
Right.
conference has meant that much to me that I'm willing to suck it up and sacrifice myself because it's worth it.
Absolutely.
And the way I entertain to other people about it is that if you want to meet the individuals that write the standards, that shape where our industry is going, so I can walk, if Donald is somebody that has not been at PCIC, but we know he's been, I can walk him up to the guy that wrote the standard.
Yeah.
And you can ask a question. That is invaluable to be able to come here and interact with the people whose names are on the index page. As an author.
Absolutely. And the index page of the standards of IEEE and also NFPA documents,
Correct.
UL standards, IEC.
So that brings up a
API.
good point of something Dean did for the first time this year. We had 2 other standards development organizations. First time actually basically promoting those organizations in this PIP,
Yep.
which I was active in years ago when I was at Remco, and ISA, which I'm still active in, the International Society of Automation.
I knew you would like that one, but
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, one of the paper I presented this morning was with a guy who is very active in ISA. He's one of the past presidents, a guy named Eric Kosman. And the reason I did that paper was, it's on cybersecurity, is I'd reviewed tons of papers in the past where they were hand waving cybersecurity and not referenced the appropriate standard. There were 5 Denver papers that I just vapor locked on.
Wow.
To Eric going, read this garbage. And I said, you
Yeah.
are writing a paper with me for next year where we can communicate the appropriate standards and what
Yeah.
need to be referenced.
Absolutely.
And so that was really neat seeing Dean interface these other standards
yeah.
associations.
So the other dean on our committee,
Yeah.
he's responsible for that because he saw the synergies
Oh, yeah.
between ISA, Chimpid, and PCIC. A lot of overlap. And
Right.
so we engaged him. So,
It demonstrates the collaboration that goes on.
And that's something we've actually, I recruited a number of his committee members. Dean is on my committee. And we're already talking about carrying that forward.
yeah, it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So success? Would you say
Absolutely.
absolutely? You got a lot of members, a lot of new
Yeah, that's what
first-time
I'm
attendees.
really proud of is 499 as of before the lunch. We're still recruiting people off the street, see if we can get a little bit higher.
We
but,
need to hit the 500 mark.
Well, I think Donald in 2015 set the record, if I recall, just over 500. So
Yeah.
but I feel very pleased
Well,
with that.
but that was a fact that we had such a high attendance as well.
Yeah.
It's always.
Oh, yeah, it's all relative. You have more, and then everything
But
comes
it's
up.
still a good part.
yeah. And a
that's
third.
big deal. That's a big deal. So,
Oh.
I mean, the fact that he had over 500, and by the way, that there's not a lot of, and I'm proud to say this, but, besides Donald with Houston, that not a lot of them haven't had that. They've had a lot, 300 something,
Right.
400, but I think when you get around to 500, that's pretty
That's impressive.
So, yeah, I'm
Well, you saw it
really
at the
proud.
lunch and all the green benches standing
Yeah.
up.
There's
A lot of young females here. I was looking out and commenting to Kevin at the luncheon about where I'm looking at a table and I'm seeing, 50%
Yeah.
of the tables females. When I started in this conference in 1994, you could count the number of young
On one
ladies
hand.
out there
Yeah.
on both hands.
Yeah, yeah.
And probably one of the big things that we have to focus on with PCIC is retention of those people. Right?
Absolutely.
Because, if you look at me and you look at Donald, we got a little gray hair. We're not going to be here forever.
Yes. Yep.
And we need these people to follow us up and continue that.
Absolutely right, and that's what I saw, and I go to a lot of different organizations, and you see I say it jokingly. I say it's like church, because you go to a church function, you go to the fish fry, and it's the same people, and they're getting older and older. But in this event, I saw a lot of young engineers expressing their research and their efforts, and that, like you said, we got to retain that energy. But it looks like when you give someone a platform, when you give them a stage, like the IEEE is giving all of these individuals who are getting up on stage, that gives them that passion, I think. It fuels them, because then they want to come back and do more. So,
The one thing you can say about a young engineer is they're a little unsure of themselves, right?
Yes.
And where to go. Coming here, and that's, like I said, I'm an evidence of that.
Yeah,
Having
yeah.
learned and grown from the knowledge and the people who are here writing these standards and communicating it has meant a lot. And clients call me and they have a problem like, hey, let me get a paper out. I'll be dang, there was one in 2008 I went to, exact problem, and I can recite that and talk to a client about it.
The technical program is one of the key things, but the networking is unbelievable as well.
absolutely right.
My first conference in 1994, I met Jimbo and Rokose, Lanny Floyd, and several others that have
Yeah.
since passed away. And anytime I had a question or a technical challenge, I could pick up the phone and call those people from that first meeting,
Yeah.
and they were overly generous with their time helping me with my
Yeah,
career.
no doubt.
Absolutely.
It's like a family. I'm
Yeah.
a newcomer to the family. My first PCIC was 2014, San Francisco. It was my first time ever to attend PCIC, first time ever to present the PCIC. And I showed up, I knew maybe less than maybe half a dozen. I could have counted the number of
Oh,
people
yeah.
that I've known
Yeah.
at the time, and maybe 1 or 2 hands, not that many. But so I understand, when you show up, And
now you have you play a role in PCIC.
yeah, I was gonna say it seems intimidating to approach someone like Donald or Dean, because back in the day I show up, I'm a new guy, I don't know anyone. It's intimidating, but it's not. These guys are very friendly and they're welcoming, and especially they're willing to help younger professionals and share their knowledge and life experience for free. Like, you don't pay anything; they share with you. And like Donald just said, you pick up the phone, I was sharing an email, and you get a response immediately because you have this personal relationship. With
Well,
them.
I actually had a guy named Kurt Armature. I don't know if you know Kurt. He knew I was the only one coming from Diamond Shamrock to the conference. And he found me and he took me around, introduced me to people the whole time at the conference. And went out of his way to help get me engaged in this organization.
That's awesome. And that's what we all have to do. We got to hand that down, and then they have to do the same thing. All right, so successful committee. I really appreciate all you've done, and it's impressive. And you can just see you have a great team behind you. All those individuals, everybody that was up on that stage, everybody in those shirts. I love that
It's easy
shirt.
to find us.
It sure is. You stick out like a
you can
thumb.
miss them, and it's like I'm telling you,
love it.
this is so bright. I need my shades. Like,
Okay,
the
I
colors.
think you make the decision on the shirts, don't you?
Well, we,
You would like to.
Oh, I thought the chair did
well, I
that.
had the idea, and on our first local committee meeting, I remember this is before Denver, you have to wear, usually the local committee in the prior year's conference will prepare for New Orleans, and they
This
wear
is
their
Orlando
shirts.
shirt,
Right.
by the way.
Right, like they're doing for Orlando.
For next year.
And on our first local committee meeting, I pulled up the picture. I said, I'm thinking we need to go full on Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And let's just say that there was an expletive used with a yeah after it. And so we decided to go all in.
That's awesome. And you guys did. It's beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you for everything that you've done for the
Yeah,
group.
so we hope to see everybody in Orlando
Yes,
next
and
year.
now we're going to talk Orlando. So let's talk about
Stay here.
Orlando.
I've been interrupting on yours.
Yeah.
So Orlando, and a lot of people have asked why Orlando. We had a gentleman named Art Malandano, who was very active in PCIC, which chaired the cable standard for many, many years. And he was one of these individuals, his company support wanted to bring the conference to his hometown, and he worked hard to sell Orlando, which there were a lot of naysayers out there, and there still are a lot of naysayers in the executive subcommittee who don't, think we shouldn't be going to Orlando. And he passed away.
Oh,
Okay, and so I drew the short straw. So, anyway, and so
Yeah.
that's why Orlando. I think overall, Orlando's going to be a fabulous city. I think it's going to be similar to Vancouver. It's a vacation destination. When I was working the publicity table for Orlando, I was shocked at the number of individuals that come up and said, our wife has already told us we're coming and we're bringing the family.
that's awesome.
So that in the Facilities and Finance Committee, we were discussing room block with Dean and based on his numbers and Denver numbers. And I was commenting, I think we need to see about increasing our room block. And, I was questioned by one individual, why do you think you need to increase your room block? Well, I think a lot of people are going to be vacationing at PCIC next year.
True.
I won't be surprised if there be more guests next year, because at the table I've been asked multiple times about, have you guys decided on the tours yet? Are we going to Disney? Like all the
Yeah.
spouses? Like, yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you. That'll be cool.
So that's why we're going to Orlando. We're going to be at the Hilton.
Okay.
I'm brain dead. Hyatt
Hyatt,
on
okay.
International Boulevard. If anyone knows where the convention center is, we're directly across the street from the convention center.
Okay.
It's right next to SeaWorld. It's halfway between Universal and Disney. So fabulous location. Right on International Boulevard. If you've been to Orlando, you know that that's a main drag going up from the Hyatt there. You can walk on up it, and there's all kinds of stuff to do on International Boulevard. So,
Absolutely.
a lot of golfing if you want to golf. There's a lot of other type tour things.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a lot of good suggestions from the guests at this conference. So
It's Orlando, right?
I think overall it's going to be a fun
And
conference.
I gotta say, for our friends who live in the northern states or Canada, like myself,
He's got mine.
it's a nice break from the cold. You
Yeah.
know, it's still kind of not that cold yet, but you go down in Orlando, it's just it's not gonna be too hot yet. It's September 15th. So it'll be sometimes we get where I live. Sometimes we get snow in September. I know it's hard to believe.
Oh, yeah, I
So it's
know.
always nice to go south and enjoy a week of nicer weather.
Yeah, so we picked the papers. Well, we voted on papers this week, yesterday, last night, right? In the afternoon. Each of the committees, the safety committee, international committee, everybody put the papers up. Nehad and I talked about that yesterday. We talked a little bit about the different papers that were voted on. I didn't tell you what I voted on, so that's secret, right? It's secret because it's. Well, wait a second.
The officers in the committees can actually see the votes, but
Okay.
typically
Okay.
don't share stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish I would have known that yesterday. Anyway.
It's not like the Heisman, right?
Well, one of the things they do is they require you to see who voted, because we've had in the past where people would vote their companies at the top, and
yeah.
and so they do call some votes.
Yeah. Well, you have to do that. Absolutely. You know what it's like whenever I would do an event and you tell people to put their card in the jar, like when you have maybe engineers or inspectors, and I would go through the cards afterwards. I go through the cards, and then I've got my competitors' cards, and I'm not going to give a gift to my competitor. I'm going to give it to an inspector or contractor. So if you're out there and you're putting cards in my bin, you're coming out, okay? I just tell you. But yeah, so we voted on that, and then you'll go back with your committee. There's a separate committee?
My committee has nothing to do with the paper program. The paper program is ran by an executive committee that's chaired by the vice chair of PCIC, which is Paul Sullivan.
Yep.
And then the secretary, which is Robert Durham of PCIC. Those two run the technical program for PCIC, and then you have all the different technical subcommittees that work in conjunction to develop the technical program.
Excellent.
We just facilitate the rooms for them.
Okay.
They pick the papers.
So this is like the organization, the organizing committee gets the hotel, books, makes sure everything is
Logistics.
the food, the logistics, all that good stuff, and then those subcommittees, like the paper committee and all that, will pick the papers, and then they'll work with the authors and the presentations and all that.
Same thing for tutorials.
And that's right. And now, is the tutorials a separate person though?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Separate committee.
Separate committees.
Subcommittee.
Yeah, that's right. And because we don't vote on tutorials though, we vote
no.
on papers.
No, they're usually doing good they're going out asking people to do. So if there's been more people that want to do tutorials, submit an abstract for a tutorial. There's never enough.
We had 8 this year, so that was, I think we had 8 last year.
Yeah, really good
And
ones
usually
too.
it's around 6.
Yeah, I think I did a tutorial last year. I did NEC 2023 changes last year.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. That was like an 8-hour tutorial, so it was really. I personally I enjoyed giving that tutorial, and I enjoy going to the tutorials as well. So excellent. Well, anything. So what do you want to? I mean, I know I want to see everybody out there in Orlando next year. Any words of wisdom?
Just see you there.
Beautiful.
You gotta be there.
You got to be there or be square. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
We
Donald.
count on you guys because we're on a beat.
Yeah, you're going to top the number. You're going to break the record.
These guys did a great job, but we need to up the bar.
Yeah, you're going to break your own record.
Well, and also stole a lot of his committee.
Yeah, excellent. All right. I know you guys have things to do, so thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Tom, thank you. Tom has to run to the airport. That's why we went live early. Normally we go at the end of the day.
Yep.
The reason we have to go early today is Tom has to go catch a flight. Safe travel for
Thank
travel,
you.
Tom, and
And same to you guys.
in touch.
Enjoy the trip back.
It's been a great week.
Awesome.
Been a great week. Thank you.
All right. Everybody out there, thanks for everything. Thanks for what you do for the electrical industry. Thanks for what you do for electrical safety. And remember to stay safe and please stay
Healthy.
There we go. All right, I'm going to shut you down. Excellent. Excellent.
No, it's okay.